I want to start off by saying, because I can't say this, I can't be in the shadow of the medical center without saying thank you to our healthcare workers that are here with us as well too. Please forgive me if I have to stop, take a little bit of a drink. This is actually my first speech since finishing cancer treatment on my throat. So healthcare workers, you have a special place in the heart for those of us who are going through the hardest times in our life, and I want to say thank you. Good afternoon, my name is Zeph Capo, and I'm proud to be the president of the Texas American Federation of Teachers. We represent more than 66,000 public school teachers, staff, support staff, higher education employees, and retirees across the state of Texas. And I'm just glad to be here looking at what really makes America great. And that's you and the millions of people like you in over 2,000 cities across our country gathering in defense of our democracy. Thank you for inviting me to speak at this patriotic event where we're collectively exercising our right to protest peacefully, non-violently, and powerfully. We are here today because the Constitution does, in fact, actually still mean something. The rights outlined in that Constitution are ours and will remain ours as long as we continue to demand them and use them. I acknowledge that we are experiencing an unprecedented constitutional crisis. In the past 9 months, we've watched the foundations of our democracy deteriorate at a faster rate than even the most cynical of us might have expected. Just this past January, I was excited to be at the White House to witness President Joe Biden sign into law the Social Security Fairness Act. It was a monumental day, one that public school educators and staff, many of them AFT members, had advocated for since the Reagan administration robbed them of their earned Social Security benefits over 40 years ago. And just a few months later, I now wake up every morning wondering which American city our current president will threaten to invade next, or which vital government employees have been laid off, or which of my friends, my family, our neighbors are going to lose their health care just so this Congress can line another billionaire's pocket. As we gather here today, the federal government has been shut down for nearly 3 weeks. And it is important that each and every one of us know why, and that we can explain it to folks who aren't here. The federal government has been shut down because a Republican majority in the United States Congress refuses to keep health care affordable for 25 million Americans, including 3.3 million of our fellow Texans. Mike Johnson and the rest of them have thrown a tantrum over being asked to extend the Affordable Care Tax credits that keep health insurance premiums low enough so that working people can afford them and stop choosing between seeing the doctor or paying our rent. If the Republican majority in Congress gets its way, if congressional Democrats fold, if the American people give up, 4.2 million Americans will lose their health care coverage completely. Over 20 million more will face skyrocketing premiums at a time when the price of literally everything else, including eggs, by the way, is more expensive than ever. Y'all, this ain't normal. This is not what government of the people, by the people, and for the people looks like. It is not normal for our teachers and parents to see young children zip-tied and trucked off by masked men. It is not normal to watch public servants who devoted their lives to making the federal government work better for real people be served their walking papers without notice. It is not normal to watch politicians dismantle protections for students with disabilities with complete disregard for the families on the other end of that destructive path. It is not normal for state and federal governments to use their power and resources to bully vulnerable kids who are trying to figure out who they are and why they feel the way that they do. None of this is normal. Moreover, and more importantly, none of it is right. But I'll say this because I'm a teacher and we value the truth. I bristle when I hear well-intentioned people say, this isn't who we are. When they read reports outlining the bigoted and morally reprehensible policies we witness every day in the White House, in Congress, and on our streets. There are ugly chapters of our shared history, starting from the very beginning of this country and even before. And they are as much a part of who we are as a nation as the real, genuinely amazing acts of courage, compassion, and kindness that we celebrate over the past 250 years. We cannot celebrate the heroism of Harriet Tubman, or as she was born, Araminta Ross, without acknowledging Edward Brodess, the man who enslaved her, the man who rented her out at the age of 6 to slaveholders. All of this is who we are, but so is how we respond in this moment. The division that is roiling our country is being perpetuated deliberately by those who refuse to believe that they've ever done a damn thing wrong. To borrow a quote from the great Ann Richards, these guys are a bunch of people who were born on third base and think they hit a triple. The very idea of being held accountable seems to baffle them. So does any notion of making amends or supporting people who have not enjoyed the benefit of history's largesse like they have. These people don't believe in rewarding hard work. I don't care what they say. They believe in rewarding success. Whether they worked for that success, or whether their grandfather worked for that success, or whether it was gifted to them on a silver platter that they took from someone else. They see anybody who struggles as weak and unworthy. With one hand, they are dismantling the Department of Education and firing the people who ensure every child, regardless of disability, gets a high-quality, life-changing education. And with the other hand, they are gutting federal funding for cancer research and stripping people of their health care insurance. You and me and working people like us, we're lines on a spreadsheet to the people in charge of this country right now. And if they deem you too expensive to care for, and this is where it started getting really personal for me, they say you're on your own. Well, I'm old enough to remember the fight for the Affordable Care Act. I'm old enough to remember when Sarah Palin said the ACA would create death panels, with bureaucrats deciding which Americans were worthy of medical care. Well, she was right, but it wasn't Obamacare that created these death panels. It's Donald Trump's big ugly bill. It's this current Republican majority who refuses to negotiate the renewal of the health care subsidies. And they go along with canceling cancer research funds who are the literal death panel. They've told us who they are, and it's time we believe them. And I do mean they, because this is about more than Trump. It's about more than the White House, and it's about more than the Congress and the courts too. We've got to look in the mirror here in Texas. I mean, hell, it was Dan Patrick who said Grandma and Grandpa should sacrifice themselves to COVID to save the economy. Now that's the dominant view in Washington, D.C. So sure, some of us might die, but that's a sacrifice they are willing to make. So Jeff Bezos can buy another super yacht. So Elon Musk can keep blowing up his little rockets in South Texas. As goes Texas, so goes the nation. What we do here matters. What we do together here in Texas can change the course our country is on. We can decide if Greg Abbott will be held accountable for the private school voucher scheme he rammed through the legislature this year. He will be on the ballot next November. We can decide whether the public schools that care for over 5 million Texas kids will continue to be the legislature's punching bag, or whether parents, educators, and communities will come together to defend them. We can decide whether our kids are taught the truth, whether our immigrant neighbors are safe or scapegoated, whether the most vulnerable in our communities get the health care and support that they need. We decide it every day. One honest conversation, one school board meeting, and one election at a time. Before you leave here today, I hope you decide what you will do next to fight back against the authoritarian threats we face both at the state and the national levels. Maybe it's organizing with other parents in your area to push back on bad policy in your school districts. Maybe it's having a real conversation with the aunt you thought you lost to Fox News years ago. Hopefully, it includes voting in this election on 17 amendments to the Texas Constitution, on control of school boards across the state, and on money for your neighborhood schools. Early voting starts Monday. And before they get the hook, pull me off stage, I need to say one more thing. Today when we chant "No Kings," we do so as a reminder to Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Mike Johnson, Greg Abbott, and the rest of them. More importantly, we say it as a reminder to ourselves. There are no kings in America. We are not governed by royal decrees. We are governed by the will of the people. We must remember that, and we must own that power. The truth is, the people in charge of our government right now are weak. They want us to keep fighting each other so we don't realize just how so. And so we don't realize our own power. Today we take that power back by growing a movement that is for everyone who loves this country enough to demand better. For ourselves, our kids, and our neighbors. Thank you for being here today, tomorrow, and the days that come. You are the future of Texas.